Hello, 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 everyone. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for tuning in. Today, I wanted to come in and introduce myself. My name is Tiara Lee. I am the owner and operator of Drunken Lipstick Beauty. I am a licensed esthetician and professional makeup artist. I've been in the beauty industry for over 15 years. I have a lot of successes and accomplishments underneath my belt. And today, I come here and present to you a short and brief step-by-step brow tutorial. In this brow tutorial, we are going to be doing the pencil structured brow, which pretty much means that we are going to be using our pencil to construct our brows and then a little bit of concealer to clean them up. Short, sweet, and straight to the point. I'm not going to hold you long, and I hope that by the end of this, you have a fonder grasp of how to complete a pencil structured brow. Okay, so for today's brow tutorial, you're going to need a eyebrow spoolie. You can have just a spoolie brush with a dual end or a disposable spoolie. Either way, it's fine. Some type of flat brush. I am using my P. Louise 7072 brush. This is for our concealer. And of course, your eyebrow pencil. I am using the Juvia's Place eyebrow pencil in the color Ebony. Your concealer for cleanup, and I will be using my Tarte Shape Tape concealer in the shade Medium. And then to clean up the top, I am going to use my NYX Can't Stop Won't Stop foundation because we don't want a halo brow. We want it to blend in. So let's begin. I'm going to start by brushing my hairs in the direction of their growth, just so I can see their shape and make sure there's no tanglements, there's no unruly brows that need to be tamed or plucked, or cut down even. So once they're all brushed through, I have an idea of the shape. I can see where my brows are sitting naturally. It makes it a little bit easier to follow their natural curve. Once we've brushed through, then we're going to go right on in with our pencil. I am going to have it open about that far, not too much, not too little, because we don't want it to break off while we're in the process of completing the brow look. And for our brows, we're going to do a short measure here, and you want the start of your brow to start right where this little indent is on your nose. That's where your brow should start, not necessarily here, because then it'll start too short. You don't want it all the way up here because then they'll be too long. You want them to start right here. And for the end of my brows, I want them to end here, coming from the edge of my nose. That should be the end of my brow. Now for the arch, a lot of people will tell you to go straight over the iris, but as you can see with my natural brow, if I go straight over the iris, then I will have a really early arch. So instead, I take it from the end of my nose, the tip of my nose, and I go across the iris like this. And this is where my arch should be. So now that we have an idea of how our brow should go and form and shape, we're going to go ahead and start. I'm going to follow the natural path of my brow bone with my pencil. And I do this with two lines, one going up at an angle and then one going down at an angle. It makes it a lot easier to get that brow complete. So I know where I'm starting from, and I'm just using light strokes to form that line underneath the brow. Our first line is here, and we're just going straight up into our arch. You see that? Going straight into the arch. And then from that arch, we're going to go ahead and arch it down towards the tip of the brow. You see where my brow should end? As you can see, we now have somewhat of a shape happening here with the brow. So you have up and then down. Very, very simple. And guess what we're going to do? We're going to follow that brow line at the top. So we're going to follow that same shape. Light hand strokes. And we're going to start where our arch should be. See that? The line should be pretty faint because we don't want it to overdo. And then from that line up, we're going to draw a line down, creating our brow shape. You see that? We went up and then we came down. There you go. I'm going to repeat these steps on the other brow. Up, down. One more time. Up, down. See? Very, very simple. So now we have our standard brow shape. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and fill it in. Now I fill in from the end forward because I like to make my strokes a little bit lighter and blend them through so that I don't have a harsh brow towards the front. I'm not in the business of scaring young children. So you want to make strokes throughout the brow and the tip. You don't want to do a back and forth motion because then they can become too harsh. You want them to look like actual hair strokes. This is where your pressure and your pencil should get a little bit lighter, and to do so you want to hold it at the farthest end of the pencil because with these two fingers, because you don't want to apply too much pressure and you have that harsh brow look. You don't want to do that. So you just light strokes, barely touching the skin, and as you go back you can add a little bit more firmness to your brows. We're going to do the same thing here. I'm going to apply more pressure towards the tip, so I'm going to bring my hands down and I'm going to fill in. Now, if you're anything like me and one brow is already naturally fuller than the others, then you can kind of breeze through that one because you don't have as much space to fill in because that brow is already pretty full. Now, once you have them filled in, I like to go back in with my spoolie towards the front and I brush the hairs upwards and then into the brow and then back up again. It kind of softens that brow, gives it a more ombre effect, just so it's not as harsh. And it incorporates everything into the brow. You see? Now we have pretty much the shape that we were going for. We're going to go ahead and start with our cleanup. And if you feel that you need to add a little bit more, you can do so. Kind of fill it in. Regroup that shape again. You know? Fine touch-ups there. All right. Now we're going to go in with our concealer at the bottom and clean these brows on up. And this is how you get that structured brow look. You're going to have that really sharp edge. So for this, I tell you, if you don't have a steady hand, your pinky is going to be like a kickstand. So you hold your kickstand onto the face to keep your hand steady. You're going to draw a nice crisp line right underneath of that brow. And we're going to follow that same line underneath the other brow. Now we have a line. Now, as y'all can see, I went a little bit too much into this brow here. So we're just going to fill you back in. And clean it up. Bam. Now, the most important part here that we didn't discuss is to blend out these harsh lines, because they will stay that way. When you try to blend out your foundation on top of them later, you're trying to figure out why it's not sitting right. And it's because we left unblended edges, and we don't want to do that. No edge should be left unblended. So we're just going to come in and softly blend those out. You see, we're starting to look like sisters. Maybe not twins, but definitely sisters. And this is where we go in with our foundation and we clean up the top. Same brush. We're not wasting brushes here. Same thing. Y'all see that? Just cleaning it up. Making it all make sense. You see? And the same that we did at the top. The bottom, we're going to do at the top. We are going to blend out those harsh edges. Now, there's an added step that I typically will do, and that's adding some glue, some eyelash glue to my brows, just to help them make sure they lay down and stay down. Not everybody needs this, and it's definitely not a requirement, but I am going to opt for my eyebrow gel, since we can't find our glue. Just brush it through. And voila, we have ready to go brows. Very simple. Let me know what you felt. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you need more help. Bye-bye for now.